Great day, everyone, and welcome to 3CP TV. My name is Yathis Johnson, and I am the founder and president of Third Culture People. 3CP TV is a media resource helping individuals become third culture people, where you learn to embrace the greater variety of cultural identities and skillfully bridge the gap between our differences. So today, we have a phenomenal guest with us. Her name is Barbara Silkes Kupferberg, and she is a teacher. She lives in Long Island. As a matter of fact, she's been a teacher for 28 years. She has a BS in political science. She has a minor in Latin American studies, and then she has a master's in elementary education. So she is a profound woman. I met her some years ago. I was doing some training out in Long Island at a faith-based organization, and I tell you, she's a great talker, and she's filled with energy. And so you're going to enjoy this session. So hang in with us, folks. When you watch 3CP TV, you learn how to connect with anyone at any time from anywhere in the world. So becoming a third culture person will not only grow you personally, but it will grow you professionally, allowing you to expand beyond your imagination and limitations. So Barbara, would you just say hello to our audience today?
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Yathis. I'm so excited to be here because I feel like I'm speaking about all the passions I have in life. So
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And so we're excited to have you. At 3CP, we change the way you view diversity, equity, and inclusion everywhere. So Barbara, let's get started here. You have been teaching for such a long time, and I want to ask you, how are you using your calling? How are you using your gifts, the skills you have been blessed with, to add value to people and to really make a difference in our world? How are you solving a problem, healing a pain? Talk to us.
All right. Well, when you're a public school teacher in New York, you have the blessing and the opportunity to touch everybody's lives
Mm,
because you are just around this beautiful ocean
mhm,
of little children who you can hopefully influence in the most positive of ways.
mm.
So one of the gifts that I feel that I have been blessed with is a gift of connecting and of
Wow.
reaching out and of making someone feel valuable and of
Mm,
worth.
mhm.
And what better way than to connect to a child who's 8 years old,
Yeah.
before they get tainted by the world, before they get, start to think of things in such a negative sense.
Mhm.
I have been just so fortunate to be able to embrace these little children and hopefully make an incredible difference in their lives.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. So talk to me, like, how did you get into teaching? You started out, political
Good,
science, and you
good
got the Latin
question.
American. What inspired you to get into teaching?
Well, what happened was this. My father, he was a police detective in the NYPD. He
Mhm,
wanted me so badly to go into law enforcement
mhm.
until he realized that I was deathly afraid of guns. So that was not going to work. I was always enthralled with law and politics and government, therefore, why I was a poli sci major
Mhm,
at Smith College in Massachusetts.
mhm,
However, I was always drawn to children in terms of
mhm,
making a difference.
mhm.
I purposefully wanted to go into elementary education rather than upper secondary education because I really felt that that was a place where you could make more of a difference with my particular gifts. So when I was 30 years old, it was kind of a second career choice at that time.
Mhm.
I went and got my master's and just delved into it and enjoyed every single solitary second of it. I was a far better adult student than I think I was when I was a teenage student.
Right.
I and I literally just dove in and soaked up every single solitary thing about it, and it was
Wow.
the best career choice I could have made. I always say that teaching
Mm,
is not a job. Teaching
Yeah.
is a calling. Teaching is a
Wow.
calling. If
Mm.
you want to be here every day and make a difference with children, you have to love it. And the day you wake up and don't feel like you love it, that's the day you got to put in your retirement papers. And I'm not there yet because I still love it. I still love it.
Wow. And you just sound so energetic, so excited. I mean, when I was
I
talking to you
am.
2 weeks ago, it's like, I mean, you're an amazing person with a ball of energy, giving all that you have to these students. So, and you know what, Barbara, I'm working with 3 school districts, 3CP. We're working with 3 school districts here in New Jersey. And I told those teachers, you are heroes to me, because
Thank you.
you guys are influencing the next generation and the next generation and the next generation.
Uh,
And think about this, Barbara. I said this in one of my speeches. Every president, every Nobel Peace Prize winner from the US,
yeah,
every law enforcement officer, every politician, right? Every athlete has to go through K through 12,
I know. You're
right?
right.
And so each one of those persons are sitting in your seats. They are
I
sitting
know.
in your classrooms.
I
So
know.
the influence that you have is just tremendous. Talk to us about that.
Well, it's not only tremendous, it's awesome.
Mm,
And what I always warn younger teachers going into the profession is,
mhm,
as awesome as you want to be and
mm,
as positively influential as you will be, remember every word that you speak,
mm,
because that positive influence, if you choose the wrong word or the wrong verbiage, or if you make an error,
mhm,
you could be damaging a child. And even though
mhm,
you might think to yourselves, well, they're 8, what's the big, it is a big deal. And one of the biggest things I tell young teachers is this: if you make a mistake, if you lose your temper, if
mhm,
you say something that you know in your heart you shouldn't have said, apologize to that kid. Apologize and make it right, so that when that child goes home that day,
mhm,
they know that you're not angry with them. They
mhm.
know that you love them and you
Wow,
find them of worth and value.
wow.
And that's just super, super important. So as influentially positive as we are, you have to be so, so careful with our words, because it can be equally detrimental to a child. So you
Wow.
just have to be careful
Yeah, yeah.
and
And
realize the importance.
yeah. And I know, just my short amount of time with you, how much you love children and people.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so that brings me to this next topic. You had given me a list, a 5-page document of a list. I mean, a long list of books.
I
And
know.
you documented it and entitled it "Celebrating Diversity Through Literature: Teaching
Yes.
Children to Value and Celebrate Diversity Through the Lens of Literature." And so you
Yes.
have this compilation here. Talk to me about what inspired you to do that, and what are some of your favorite books? What are some of the things that you've read here that you could share with our audience? So,
I was hoping you'd ask me that, so I took out a few. Um, what it is I teach in a very diverse district, and
okay.
I love it, and I would teach nowhere else.
Wow.
And when I first got into the district, I noticed that the library of literature at our disposal was looked kind of like me,
Mm,
and it didn't look like the children I was teaching.
mhm,
And so I decided to personally go out and, over the years, go on a search and a hunt for literature that looked like my children, so
mm,
that when they were reading, they didn't need to read about me. They needed to see themselves in
mm,
that story in
yeah.
order to really just become embedded into that literature and feel that connection.
Mm,
So there's such an incredible amount of literature that does that.
yeah.
And it's just kind of been my little personal mission to, every year I go out and Amazon is my best friend, and I can just
Tell me.
find the most amazing things on Amazon. Um, for instance, last year I was reading, one of my favorites is this story by Mary Hoffman, and I had put it in my compilation.
Mm,
It's called Amazing Grace,
wow.
and it's about this beautiful little girl who loves acting, is very imaginative, and
Mm,
wants to be Peter Pan in the school show. The minute she announces it to her friends, they say, you can't be Peter Pan. A, you're a girl. B, you're black. That's just not going to work.
Right.
Her grandmother takes her to an opera where the main, actually it was a ballet, excuse me, it was a ballet where the main character was a black woman from Trinidad who was playing this role for the very first time. And her grandmother, who was also from Trinidad, said, I want you to see this and tell me if you can be Peter Pan. At which point she went back, she practiced. And of course, she makes the role of Peter Pan.
Wow.
One of the things I want to teach my children is that you are capable of doing anything.
Yeah.
You never let someone tell you you can't because of what you look like, for what you worship, for your gender, whatever. You are capable of doing anything, but it takes perseverance. It takes fight. It takes grit. Don't let anybody push you down and make you feel that you are unable or incapable of achieving anything that you set your heart and soul out to do. So through literature, we talk about a growth mindset. We
really?
Oh my God. Oh yeah. I mean,
this is the type of stuff that this is the type of stuff, Barbara, that I'm teaching, I'm learning, I'm teaching, I'm coaching others, you know, taking the limitations off of your mind. So this growth mindset, you know, people are paying thousands of dollars to hear this type of information, and you're sharing this with your students?
Yes. So what I say, if we have one of the kids in class say like, I can't do that, the whole class says, you have a fixed mindset. What are you talking about? Have a growth mindset. I can't do that yet. Like that. Yes. So, I mean, we were, you know, the other day we read the story about Hidden Figures. And they had never heard of any of these amazing mathematicians who ended up working for NASA. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Something beautiful. You know, you need to feel that you're beautiful no matter what your hair, that you can't be held back by the texture of your hair or the color of your skin. Am I black? Am I brown? Am I tan? Am I this? You have to feel so empowered from your very heart and soul that you know you can go out and just take on the world. And I just think now more than ever in our, maybe at least my history of in my lifetime, if kids don't have this from an early age on, I get afraid that they could become, you know, get in middle school and then get torn down and get beaten down. And they need it now so that when they get into certain situations as they get older, they have hopefully the confidence to face what they're going to face.
Wow. Wow.
So it's a thrill. I can't even tell you.
Wow.
It's literally a thrill. And can I just say one more thing?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Go for it.
You know, what happens is also when I'm in the classroom, we talk about each other's colors, like you're looking at a piece of art. It's so interesting. When you're 8, they'll look at me and they'll say, like, you're kind of like off-white peachy. Then they look at my co-teacher and they say, you're kind of like, they look at us like we're a Crayola box.
Right.
And it's so interesting. It's never said with any kind of backstory. It's said completely like, this is what I see. It has nothing to do with who you are. It's just what I visually see in front of me. And we discuss it so freely and so openly. And we don't hold anything back. And to see like kids that are 8 years old say things like Black Lives Matter, and somebody else says, yeah, you're right. My mom told me this. And just having these conversations that you would think would only happen with teenagers, it's here, and they're 8 and they're embracing our culture and our world. And this is not the world of 50 years ago. This is not the United States of 50 years ago. People got to get on the bandwagon. They got to get on board. They've got to, or else they're going to be left behind.
Yeah. So Barbara, you know, again, I'm working with school districts, teachers. They're wanting to know, like, how do we bring this diversity into our curriculum? How do we have these conversations? I mean, you said a lot, but if you could just give us just 2 bullet points, you know, 3 bullet points of how do we help them?
I think the first thing is don't be fearful. Don't be fearful of treading on subjects and topics that you think are going to be controversial. Go for it, because these kids already know it and they want to talk about it. And to have it spoken about in just a really inclusive educational setting could not be a better setting for them to discuss it. So don't be fearful, and educate yourself. Educate yourself, because there could be a lot of people that look like me who don't have diverse friendships. I happen to. So for me, this is normal and natural, but I teach with wonderful people that maybe they don't have that kind of background. So you have to, don't be fearful and educate yourself. Get yourself out there.
Wow.
Do things outside of your comfort zone.
That's
Get
great.
out of yourself. Start branching out. And I think if you do that, the world of wisdom that you can bring into your classroom, I don't care whether you teach, algebra in high school or kindergarten or third grade or eighth grade social studies.
Yeah.
A teacher can bring in so much to their students.
Yeah.
Because not everything is a formal lesson.
Yep.
There's also just conversing with your kids and having awesome discussions and beautiful conversation.
Wow. Wow. That is so powerful, because I truly believe that the creativity and innovation is within us.
Absolutely.
And so by these 3 bullet points, I took notes here. Don't be
Thanks.
fearful, educate yourself, do things out of your comfort zone. If you do those three things, the innovation will just emerge.
It'll blossom.
It'll blossom, and you will see a difference in your teaching. And when you want to teach for diversity and be inclusive, it's going to happen because of these things here. Lastly, from my understanding, your cultural background is mixed. So talk to us about that. Tell us 3 things you would want us to know about your cultural background. And yours is somewhat unique. So help us understand that. Yeah.
I'm a little bit, when I grew up, I used to call myself a mutt because I was a little bit of everything. I mean, my father is 100% Jewish. My mother was half Italian, and the other half was English, Irish, Scottish. So I definitely have lots of different cultures in my background. I haven't done an ancestry, but I'm dying to, because I think it would reveal possibly even more than that. But I think the fact that I come from cultures that embrace warmth and connection to your fellow human being, I think has just kind of been gifted into me to want to reach out, be warm, and connect to my fellow human beings, whether they're 8, 80, 100, 48, whatever. So I just hope and pray that I've been able to take those gifts that I feel like I've been given and just give out. And I do think that my culture has played a big part of that. I do.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
One last thing I just have to tell you, though, too.
Yeah.
Why this is also super important is because you're not just teaching children, you're embracing families of those children.
Wow.
I have to be able to call somebody up and speak to them as a peer, and be able to connect with them. If I cannot connect with the families of my children, what can I do? What can I really do? As a teacher, I've gone only 35% there, and the rest is not going to happen. Right. So if you don't embrace other cultures above and beyond yourself, you're not going to be able to connect with your families. And when you're a teacher, the children's families are just as important as the children themselves.
Wow. Wow. Barbara, this is gold. This is gold. I'm telling you, this is just so, let me tell you, it is so timely. I just want to thank you, our 3CP team. We thank you so much for being a part of this. And Barbara,
thank you so much.
Yeah. And I don't know, normally I have entrepreneurs on, and so they're giving out their information. If I don't know, and there are other teachers that might want to connect with you. Can they find you on LinkedIn?
Yes, they can find me on LinkedIn. They can find me on Twitter, on Instagram. Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
And yes, especially my link. Yeah.
Give your handle there. Yeah. How do they find you?
Well, on Twitter, it's going to be at Barbara Silkes, which I teach under my maiden name because Kupferberg is just way too long for eight-year-olds. Yeah. And at Instagram is at Bichons42, Bichons 42, which is their dogs I love. And LinkedIn is at Barbara Silkes Kupferberg, I believe. You're going to have to kind of I have to figure out my identity. I keep going back and forth with all the social media, but I'm on there all the time.
Yeah. Well,
all the time.
Great. Barbara, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you, audience, for tuning in to 3CP TV, where you learn how to connect with anyone at any time from anywhere in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Yathis. Bye.
Bye.